So I'm having a horrible morning this morning. Really stiff, no mobility. Just feel locked up in my ankles, my lower back. Everything seems to be just upset and not ready to squat. And when you want to squat in the front rack position as your first exercise, it becomes awfully difficult to roll out of bed, come out here and just put the bar in your front rack and squat with optimal positioning, especially when you got these freaking things. Long femurs, so I'm not one of those guys that is built to squat. Some of you guys might be like, what do you mean you can't squat? Like, you've been squatting a billion days in a row, surely you worked it out by now. One of the reasons why I think I fell in love with the squat was because it's very, very difficult for me. I struggle to get into these positions, and we often fall in love with the things that we can't have. I'm naturally much better at deadlifting. It's just the way it is. Why am I not doing deadlift every day? Because it's not challenging enough, let's say that. I don't know what the reasoning for that is, but a lot of times, a lot of my ideas, a lot of these videos that you guys see, I come out and I look for ways to kind of manipulate my way into an optimal position in the front squat or the back squat or whatever the case might be. This morning, what I've done is, you guys have seen me do Hindu squats, basically without this thing, just squatting up and down, keeping my torso upright. Imagining a world where I have shorter femurs and much better ankle mobility. Decided to do this and just basically sit here, and then from this seated position where I'm really upright. I mean, I wish I could squat like this. If I could, shove my knees this far over my toes, I mean, that would be ideal, wouldn't it? But I can't. So from this seated position, I'm just gonna go into 20 Hindu squats, and I'm gonna try and continually force my knees forward. And the piece of wood that I've got behind me here is providing this tactile feeling that, that's what I'm doing, right? So I've kind of worked out it's a lot better to do that than just have my heels in the air. So let's bang out a set of 20 here. That puts the quads on the map. And it also does something to my hip internal rotators, because if you notice, my stance is quite narrow and I'm not doing this. That's external rotation. I'm kind of trying to keep it more forward, and the way the femur is positioned like this, there's a bit of internal rotation of the femur when you're in this ATG position. If I was to do this, that's kind of more external rotation. This is kind of internal rotation. I feel like as soon as you have a bit more internal rotation access, you squat better. This is one thing that I really, really like. So I'll show you that. Maybe it's a little bit better now because I've warmed up a bit, but I don't know if you guys can be able to see this, but it's a really nice, easy test to kind of test your squatting ability before you even squat. I mean, I've squatted every day for a million days in a row, so I kind of have a feeling just as soon as I open my eyes, start walking, I kind of feel like what sort of day I'm going to have. But 90 degrees, 90 degree hip, knee, and all you're going to do now is just turn your heel out. This is the internal rotation I have of the hip. It's a joke, right? Even on good days, I don't have much better. I'm very, very limited in my internal hip rotation. What about the other leg? Maybe a little bit better. What about external rotation? Look at that. Usually I get about 45 degrees on external rotation. So right now, I don't have internal rotation. I don't have external rotation. So how do you squat when you don't have any rotation of the hip? Well, you don't. I mean, I will, but it's not going to be good. If I was to load up, say 180 on the front squat, I'll probably get injured. If I load up 200 on the back squat, I'll probably get injured. Simply because when your hip doesn't have the rotation that it requires, you start to compensate from different areas of the body. So you start to butt wink a little bit. You start to maybe shove your knees in a little bit. Your ankles will definitely collapse. You'll get that flat foot kind of, you know, medial malleolus basically touching the freaking ground. So one of those days I'm having. So I'm going to continue doing this for a little while. Then I'll walk over to the bar over there and see what I can do. But without this, without any of this, that would be a freaking joke. So anyway, let's see what I can do. I'll spend another 20 or so minutes here and then I'll get to the bar. On days like this, I think most people will be like, nah, it's just too hard. Too hard to fight against what's been offered to me today by the body. Don't have the mobility, I'm stiff, I'm sore. Clearly it's an indicator for me to back away and go away. And you know, probably for the majority of the population out there, that's probably a good idea to rest or whatever. I believe movement is medicine. I believe health is all about moving. When a person moves more, usually they are more healthy. The general population doesn't move enough, and so then all these chronic illnesses creep in. And so I've taken what I've learned from my clinical experience as a nurse, working in emergency all these years, and I've kind of taken some of these ideas and implemented them into my hobby, this thing that I'm fascinated with, getting the human body to be stronger, to be more efficient at moving. So on days like this, when I come in and I'm really fighting against an uphill battle, where the body, for whatever reason, is locked down, you know, for most people, it'll be like too hard, you know, rest. For me, I take this as an opportunity, because it's a perfect moment to work on mobility, to, you know, implement some ideas, to test and then retest after some of these things that you've implemented. So for instance, today, you know, I decided to do Hindu squats. You know, I tested my hip internal, external rotation before it. I tested it afterwards, and there was an improvement. And certainly my front squat felt a lot better than it would have if I went under the bar right away. You know, the next question would always be, okay, so what's causing this lockdown? When the body's fatigued, it likes to lock down. When somebody comes in to emergency with a sick body part, let's say it's some organ in the belly is really, really sick, what do people do? You know, they guard the belly. They go into that fetal position, and they are very hesitant to let somebody, whether it be a nurse or a doctor, to feel, palpate, percuss that area, because, you know, pain is that you know, receptor response from the body to be like, okay, something is wrong, don't do that. And so we take some of these guarding mechanisms because something is wrong. In a similar way, you could probably say the body locks down because of certain things are tight, certain things are overworked. Now, certainly you can have tightness from underuse. What I'm talking here is overuse. When you are moving every single day, when you are trying to better a certain body part, there's always a push and pull kind of response from the body. If you don't have a balanced approach in how you train, you know, if you say just smash the quads all day, every day, and you don't address some of the other side, the hamstrings, the glutes, adductors, all that kind of stuff, you will have these compensation mechanisms which might not be evident at first, but later down the track, you might develop some hip pain, some knee pain, some ankle pain. And so that's kind of how it works. Like if you don't have the experience, if you don't have, you know, experience within yourself or somebody else that's watching you, you won't pick up some of these cues. And then when the pain happens, you're like, okay, so what's caused this? But sometimes it's a compensation mechanism which was instilled into your system maybe 2-3 weeks ago, 6 months ago, something like that. Sometimes you can't work it out. And that doesn't sit well with me. My mind still races on. But sometimes, you know, you might have had a really tough shift in ED. You didn't drink a lot of water. You know, it's stressful. You didn't drink a lot. You came home. You know, you didn't sleep well because that's all on your mind, what happened in ED. things that occurred still running through your mind while you're sleeping. You wake up and you've had, let's say, 8 hours of supine resting, but you haven't had sleep. So then you wake up and you want to do another squat every day session, and you come out and you're stiff. Was it too many sets yesterday? Was it too many sets the other day? Was it because I didn't do this? You didn't drink enough water, you didn't rest, you had too much stress. Right? So this is where you can go absolutely insane trying to work out the causation of certain things, because it is literally chaos. Theory of chaos. There are so many moving parts that it is impossible to find causation within it. Sure, if you take this chaos and you run 1 billion experiments, you might see patterns form and you might have some sort of control over the results. But for the most part, you're just chasing your tail. Having said all of that, you come into this chaotic environment that your body's provided you with, and you go, okay, let's learn something. You do this simple test, internal, external rotation. Okay, so this is what's happening. This is what I have. What if I do this exercise a little bit, sit in the hole with elevated heels, maybe do some Hindu squats, test, retest. I've improved. That's cool. So this exercise has an impact on this. Even in a state where you are not the best position, you have moved, you have explored, and you have learned. And frankly, to me, I think it's a sad event. It's a sad thing to have happen where you turn away some of these opportunities. Not every day needs to be an all-out day. Some days you can come in and literally treat it as a classroom session. I've learned, I've been present within this domain, this squat everyday journey. I've stretched a little bit, I've tested, retested, I've implemented, I've retested, I've made some changes. That's some experience. I've gained some EXP points for all you gamers out there. I've gained some experience points, which I can definitely put towards whatever the goal is. I've moved 1 millimeter forward rather than the normal 1 centimeter today. And I think that's all well and good. Now, if you're somebody that is not in this for the love of it, and you are not really all that into it because of the journey, you just really want the results, that's probably a hard sell. But for some of you old school diehards, who love this whole journey and not just the destination, I love this stuff. And this is probably why I don't really care about some of the other things that people maybe who are concerned about results, that take the performance enhancing routes, all of that sort of stuff, that take hormones, all this stuff, because they are result focused. I'm not. I couldn't care less, dude. Honestly, I'm here for the journey. And so this is where you have this bifurcation amongst the population of whatever field you have. You have people that are result focused and people who are journey focused. I'm just happy to be here, man. I'm just happy to be here. I'm not here because I need something. I am just happy to be here. And I can see that even on a day like this, my body's offering me so little, I still did it, and I still had fun, and I still learned something, and I still walked away like I've accomplished something. It's a hard sell to maybe some people, but to me, that's a beautiful thing, and it's time well spent. I appreciate you guys, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.